Welcome back. We're going to talk in this video a little bit about the physical manipulation of this camera. We're not talking about operation yet, but we're talking about things like changing the lenses, adding the grip, articulating the viewfinder. Talk about physically making changes, manipulating the camera as a unit. So starting off, let's talk just briefly about the lenses that we've provided for you. Now each of these lenses has got a rear cover on it, and that is a twist lock to get off of it. But it also has a lens cap on the front. And the way these lens caps work, if you've never come across them, they're held in place by spring pressure. If you grab the middle here and squeeze, right, it'll come right out. And that's just a little spring dealy there. Likewise, if I squeeze it, put the lens cap back in place and then turn loose, the spring holds it there. And it's the same way for all of these. They might look a little bit different. They're from different manufacturers, but the idea is the same. There is a spring-loaded clip that you squeeze, and then the lens cap will lift right off. And it's the same even on this default lens. The spring-loaded edges are on the outside here, but again, you just grab those two little things, you squeeze them, this comes right off, no problem. Now, all of the lenses that we're providing you, in addition to having the lens cap on, there's a little filter. So this black ring here is actually not part of the lens. This is an additional filter that we've put on, and it's a lens protector. It does two things. One, it helps keep the lens clean. Two, is it helps protect it from damage, this protector. So if this gets scratched because you were out on the beach and the wind blew sand against it, or if you bump against something and this cracks, the filter is only $8 to replace. Whereas this little lens is $50, this lens is north of $200. So yeah, we like having the lens protectors on there. Now let's talk for a moment about changing lenses. Changing lenses hopefully is something you will be doing. I want you to experiment with the different focal lengths we've provided you, and it's definitely, well, they all have their uses. We'll get into that later in the semester. Now to do this, first on the lens, you're going to find there's a little red dot or possibly a little white dot, an alignment dot. It's important to locate this. And also, there's going to be one on the camera that we can't see quite yet. Now I'm going to set the lens down, but first I'm going to take this rear cap off. Now I want to do this quickly. I don't want to leave the lens sitting around with the rear cover off because the optics are exposed to the elements. And I definitely don't want to leave the camera sitting around with the lens off because the interior of the camera is open and exposed to the elements. We don't want dust or dirt or leaves or anything getting inside the camera or on the back of the lenses. A very, very little bit of dust or dirt or whatever can really destroy a lot of your photograph. And you won't see it at the time. When you're taking the pictures, you won't notice it, but then you'll get back to the lab, you'll look at them, and all of your pictures will have this big blur over part of the image. You'll be like, what is that? You know, and it's going to be a speck of dust so small you can barely see it. So I want to move smoothly and quickly and efficiently. I don't want to leave anything open and uncovered any longer than I have to. Also, I want to try and do this in a controlled environment. Again, on the beach on a windy day, changing lenses is a dodgy proposition. You don't want to get sand in the innards of the camera. Sitting here in a completely clean, controlled room, I can be a little more lackadaisical. I can take a little bit more time. But again, you want to move smoothly and quickly. So I'm going to set the lens down. I like to set them on the lens cap so they don't roll anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and take that back cover off. Hold it up here for the close-up camera. And I'm going to keep that back cover close at hand because I'm going to want it in just a second. On the front of the camera, there's a honking big button here on the side opposite from where the shutter release is. That is the button that locks the lens in place. So I'm going to push that button. And while I'm pushing it, I can rotate the lens. That'll unlock it. And now the lens will lift completely off. Ta-da! I'm going to set this one down. Set it on the lens cap again. Now notice that here on the camera, there's another alignment dot. So I find the red dot on the camera. I find the red dot on the lens. And I line those two up. Give it just a little bit of a jiggle to make sure that it's gone home. And then I just twist, and it locks into place. And now I can take the other lens and put the rear cap back on it. These rear caps are interchangeable. It should fit, any cap should fit any lens, so you don't have to worry about keeping a particular cap with a particular lens. That's how you change lenses. On the underside of the camera is a little screw hole, and this is where you would mount the tripod if you were putting this on a tripod, or if you're working with the aftermarket grip, it also attaches to the same place. And you'll notice that the grip, when I'm holding it in place here, has a hole in it, so I can still get to the cover. I can get to batteries and SD cards. And this would just screw on like so. And there's actually another screw hole on the underside of the grip, so I can still attach this to the tripod even with the grip on. Now, I like this grip. You can see that basically all it is this little piece of wood that sticks out off the front on the right-hand side. But what it lets me do is when I grab the camera, I can wrap 2 or 3 fingers around that grip, and that's what's holding the camera, is this part of my hand. But it leaves my thumb free to work controls. It leaves my index finger free to work controls and to snap pictures, and it keeps the heel of my hand away from these controls on the back. Now, if your hands are small enough and it fits comfortably, you certainly don't have to use the grip, but it is available if you want it. I'm going to go ahead and take that off before I show you the one last thing, or 2 last things that I want to show you. Now, on the back of the camera, of course, you have a viewfinder, big LCD viewfinder. You're probably very used to this. It's not that different from taking pictures with a phone. This does articulate. It does move some. So if I just pull on it a little bit, you can see that it's tilting out away from the camera. So this can be very useful if I'm trying to take pictures and I want to hold the camera down low. I can look down at the viewfinder, tilt the viewfinder, I can see it. And I can flip it the other way. Right, so now the viewfinder is actually tilted down here. So I could hold the camera up over my head and see what's going on. And this particular one will actually flip completely around, although it will not do this if I have the grip on. And they call this selfie mode, right? So this, in theory, would allow me to take pictures or video of myself. Not something I really have much interest in, but I just wanted to point this out, the fact that this is, this back screen does articulate in a couple of ways. One last little thing. When you're working outside, or even if you're just an old-timer like me and you prefer it, sometimes working with the LCD screen is inconvenient. Outside in the sun, you can't see it. All right, so you can put this camera up to your eye and look through the eyepiece here. This little eyepiece has an adjustment over here on the side close to the power switch, this little wheel here. And this will allow you to focus the eyepiece for your vision. Right, so turn the camera on, hold it to your eye, and then while you've got it while you're holding it to your eye, rotate this little dial until the menu options around the edges look sharp. When you can read the text clearly that's inside the viewfinder, you'll know that this is focused for your eye, and that makes life just a whole lot nicer. All right. In our next video, I'm going to talk just a little bit about some operational controls for this camera.